Welcome to Triangle BNI. Today's show is brought to you by Simply Done Concierge. Folks, we talk all the time about being in two or three places at once. Mary and her team at Simply Done Concierge can help you do that. If you will go to simplydoneconcierge.com, tell them what you're looking for. Do you need meal prep? Do you need errands run? Do you need dog sitting? Whatever you need, Mary and her team have you covered. Please go to simplydoneconcierge.com, tell them what you're looking for, and they'll be able to gift you in two or three different places in one day. Hi, everybody. My name is Mike Manning. Every week on Triangle BNI, we bring you a local small business success story. If you are not familiar with BNI, it is Business Networking International, the world's largest networking organization. Our little slice of heaven here in the Triangle, Raleigh, Durham, and Chapel Hill and the surrounding towns. We have 32 chapters each week. They get together and almost 600 members. Our goal is to help each other grow our business. And our local small business success story this week is Kara Hornada with Rainbow Restoration. Kara is a member of the RD13 core group that Amnon and I are in. We meet Tuesday mornings at 8:15 at the Farm Bureau office, 5211 Western Boulevard. So if you want to come meet some cool people that are help you grow your business, we'd love to have you there. Kara is the business development director, executive manager at Rainbow Restoration. Kara, how are you today?
Good morning. I'm doing well. Hope you guys are.
We are glad to have you here. So Rainbow Restoration, you guys come in when all heck breaks loose, and we don't need you till we really need you, but we love watching you show up, don't we?
I'm not sure if you love watching us show up,
We know
but
help's coming, so
but
yeah.
we like to be a calming presence when,
Yeah.
like you said, something's happened. You need us right away, and we want to make it as easy as possible for you to get back and up and running.
Yeah, and I've many things that I've learned through BNI over the years, and one is I mean, before I joined BNI, I knew what restoration companies were, but I didn't understand, never having needed one. We understand that you help get the house back to where it was, but more importantly, you're there to answer questions, let the homeowner know we got this, everything's going to be okay, and that may be the best thing you do, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's like we're calm in a storm.
Yeah.
For sure. And sadly, I do know what restoration is. Years ago, our family noticed a little spot on the ceiling in the first floor.
Oh.
And that's all it takes is one little spot.
Yeah.
And luckily, I had a friend that was volunteering at the elementary school that day, and she put me in touch with the right people. They came out, they fixed it. So before I started working here, gosh, 15 plus years ago,
Mm.
our family had to have somebody come out. And
Wow.
finding the right people makes a difference, no
How,
matter what it is.
how much damage was done?
Thankfully for us, it wasn't that bad. Our shower liner, they didn't pull the liner up high enough, which is something that
Ah.
happened a good bit around homes that were built around. Our home was built in 2002,
Uh-huh.
and this probably happened around 2007, 2008.
All right.
And I had another friend. Our kids were in preschool together. Happened to them, water went to the whole first floor. So
Ooh.
that's definitely a little bit bigger job than what we had. But thankfully, she had her house fixed
Yeah.
and was back up and running as well. But ours was just contained to the master bathroom.
Okay. Without mentioning the builder's name, were both these houses built by the same builder?
No, no, different neighborhoods, all in Apex, but built about the same time. Same problem.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that just changes. From the time they showed up, how long did it take for everything to get under control and get fixed?
Well, for us, luckily, it wasn't like standing water.
Yeah.
It was just, obvious that some water was starting to seep to
Mhm.
the first floor ceiling. But it was just we had the opportunity just to pull up the tile around the bottom and up a little bit. But our house was old enough that we wanted to just replace that whole
Yeah.
bathroom tile floor just so it would match and the grout would um, all match. And it wasn't that long.
Okay.
Probably the longest was probably getting
Mm.
the materials in.
And then naturally, did you have to redo the master bedroom and then the bonus room and then the den and new?
No,
Okay.
no. I honestly like decorating a house is not my forte. That's not my strength. I am not good at that. So no, that's I had to pick out tile and that was enough.
Okay. That wear you out.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. What kind of things can we as we walk around our house, we can't prevent some things like frozen pipes, busted pipes. We don't know that there's any problems in drywall and stuff like that. But just walking around the house, what kind of things can we start eyeballing and just looking to see, especially in an older house?
You would be surprised. Sometimes the homes that we're being called into, they're not always the older homes.
Oh,
Yeah, you would think that, but that's
mhm.
not always the case. I mean, look at our personal experience with my family. Our house was less than 10 years old when that happened.
Okay.
But some of the items you can look for, obviously ceilings.
Yeah.
You would think it's probably unnecessary to look up on your ceilings, first floor, second floor, third floors, whatever you have. If you see any marks, definitely get it checked out. I would start there, and then some simple things that can happen that can go wrong pretty quickly. If you feel like your dishwasher is not operating properly, if you see a little bit of water, get it fixed right away, because a little bit of water coming out of your dishwasher can turn into ripping up your hardwood floors pretty quickly if it's not addressed soon enough. And then even had a good friend I played tennis with, her connector into her water connection into a refrigerator.
Mm.
The builder didn't put a strong enough connection in there, and it got loose, and unfortunately, did some good significant damage.
Mm. Do you see any uh, dryer ducts and vents? Because we hook up our washer and dryer, and we really don't pay a lot of attention to them till we have to buy a new one, right? And so you get all that stuff clogged up in the vent. Could cause issues.
Well, absolutely. If you're with dryers, you definitely need to have your vents cleaned out yearly, because that can lead to fires.
Mm.
And we do come in after fires and smoke damage as well, but we absolutely don't want to have to do that. So, regardless, you should always have your dryer vents cleaned out yearly.
Anything outside the house? I know when hurricanes are coming, when we lived in Florida, at least, they told you just get everything away from your house or bundle it up, put it somewhere that, stuff like
Yeah.
that. Do we need things leaning up against our house that could cause a problem?
I would say what I have seen personally that is the biggest source of damage would be trees like falling,
Mm.
because we've had so much rain, I feel
Yeah.
like, lately. And so it just, make sure you have your, if you have any overhanging limbs, get them
Mm.
trimmed, really, have it. I would recommend, if you think you have a tree that looks like it might need to come up, talk to a tree expert,
Mm.
because I had a friend in, I guess it was August, and a storm was coming up the coast, and we get it pretty bad here in the triangle area with those storms. And unfortunately, totaled two cars in her driveway and
Ooh.
a hole in the roof above her bonus room.
Yeah. I was headed to swim this morning, and my usual left to go to Pullen Park was blocked. There's a tree in the road. So naturally, as
Yes,
we're waiting to go in, we're chatting about that. And with all the water we've gotten,
exactly.
softens the ground and serious wind yesterday.
Oh, it's
I don't know about you, but we're
crazy.
sitting in the house and we can hear it come down the chimney a little bit. It's like, is that rain or wind? And it was straight wind.
I had a tennis match yesterday, and I'm telling you what, it
Oh,
was crazy. The ball was doing stuff I didn't know that a tennis ball could do on a court. We all were like, this is nuts. And even my son's team had a soccer game yesterday, and just the wind was
yeah.
crazy strong yesterday. So you're right, 100%. When you have wet ground and you have the
Mhm.
wind that comes through, those trees, they can be uprooted pretty
Yeah.
quickly.
As I had to run an errand yesterday when we got home, and I was outside and I gauge everything golf related. It's like, oh, that's a 3 club win because I'm blowing in your face like, and I did go down 3 club. Okay, yeah, so that's pretty good win. So,
Yeah.
but it was impressive yesterday. But
Yeah.
so that's what we thought is moist yard, moist grass stuff. Like here comes a tree, so got to be careful on that. Love your professional story.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so one of the neat things about this show is learning about people, but hearing all the different ways you can get to this moment, right? So let me see if I got this straight.
Okay.
So you work for a chemical pump manufacturer as a regional sales manager and engineer,
Hmm.
all right? And then we're going to break this down a little bit, okay? And then for the last 20 years, though, you've been at home raising the kids, which is
Yes.
is way harder than any job we ever get paid for. I know that. And
Most rewarding,
oh, big time,
hands
yeah,
down.
and frustrating and most rewarding, yeah, it's like, "I've told you boys to read," and then so now you're back to rainbow restoration, okay? So let's go back to your life in the chemical manufacturing world, okay. So at NC State, you got your undergraduate degree
Right.
in can I really I mean, we're friends, can I call it Nerd City? I mean, you were an engineering major. Did you
I'm
play
sorry.
chess and things like that? You in the
Oh
chess
my
club and the
gosh.
debate club and all that?
No. I mean, I can be a little nerdy. I love to read. But I would say, I went to school with some wicked smart people.
Yeah,
And I was fortunate enough to meet some really good people. And at one point, I was like, what am I doing in this major? I think I want to be a teacher.
okay.
And both my parents had been teachers. And I went home. I said, this is what I really want to do. But my dad got back into teaching later in life. And he said, Kara, it's just not the same. And sadly,
Mm,
it's still not. But
yeah,
that's a whole nother story. But I feel I'm a big advocate for teachers. But I stayed with it, got my engineering degree, worked for a distributor in Greensboro, then met my husband, and eventually moved up to the Chicago
mm.
area after living in North Carolina my entire life, and worked for a magnetically driven pump used to pump some of the nastiest chemicals. So it was not glamorous, and but I loved it. I ended up getting to travel. My territory was everything west of the Mississippi and all of Canada, which is
Ooh,
quite a
nice.
territory. But
Yeah.
having lived in North Carolina my entire life and getting to travel, I didn't fly till I was 21. So it was a big
Yeah.
life change for me. But I'm so fortunate because you can live a very sheltered life very
Mhm.
quickly.
Where the engineering gene or bug come from?
My mom's brother.
Okay.
He
Alright.
was a chemical engineer at NC State, and I had a lot of respect for my uncle Wayne. And he just smart man. He didn't say much, but he was like his dad. When he did talk, he had something really important
Mm,
to say. And so I was like, oh, I love math and I love science, and so I'll go do engineering.
alright. If you didn't go to state for engineering, where would you have gone?
I probably would have started at Peace College.
Okay.
Both my mom and my Uncle Wayne's wife went to Peace College, and I loved the campus. I loved it was
Mm.
a 2 year all girls school, so I
Yep.
probably would have gone there for 2 years
Alright.
and then transferred somewhere. Because one of my good friends that I grew up with, she actually moved to Ohio, ended up at Peace College, as did her younger sister, and she had flown down to meet me to go to the visitation week in our junior year, and then she ended up going there, loving it, and her sister went there, and she loved it. So ironically, I was, a legacy, and my
Yeah.
mom and aunt had gone there, and I didn't end up there. So
And for those watching and listening, we know now it's William Peace University. My
yes,
nephew's a baseball player there, but back in the day, and us old school triangle
absolutely,
people, it was Peace College.
yeah,
Yeah, I remember I had a
yes,
couple friends of mine from high school go play tennis there. Yeah, yeah,
absolutely,
way back
yeah.
when. So you survived, and hopefully, I'm going to just say this because it's my show. You made it better. You were in a massively male dominated industry. So let me just say the crap you must have put up with on an hourly basis had to have been difficult at times where did you question why you were doing this at times?
Honestly, no,
Good.
no, I have to say because I could go an entire day and never see a woman. That
Yep.
is absolutely true. But 100%, I was very fortunate. The family-owned company I worked for in Greensboro, the manufacturer I worked for in Chicago, I just worked with the greatest guys. And the really there was one other woman who was a regional sales manager, and she was a Latin American regional sales manager, and she was down in Miami. But other than that, that was in our business unit. That was it.
Mm. All right. And when you showed up at a couple of meetings and people are like, oh, I'm sure you got a couple of those looks, right?
Well, I will say I do believe having an engineering degree back then probably
Yes.
gave me a lot of credibility
Yep.
that maybe some might not have given
Mm.
otherwise. But I really just never experienced anything,
All right.
honestly, that made me ever feel
Good.
uncomfortable or like I couldn't. do that job.
Okay. Glad to hear that. What airport did you spend the most time in with all your travels?
Chicago O'Hare. And I had my boss who traveled internationally. He said, Kara, you've had more things happen to you in 1 year flying, whether it was getting stuck at numerous airports because of weather and couldn't get home, or whether I don't know if you've ever had this where you're starting to land and you can see the ground and you come back up.
Oh, no, but I've had some friends that,
I've
yeah,
had that happen to
yeah,
me twice in Chicago, once in San Francisco, and I don't love to fly, so
yeah,
I'm like, oh heck yeah, we're almost on the ground, and then all of a sudden we're like
yeah.
whoosh, and you got another 20 minutes in the airplane. I don't like that, but they do it for safety reasons, so
Oh,
it's
yeah,
a good
yeah,
thing. It's
yeah.
a good thing.
Do you remember how many frequent flyer miles you ended with when you?
Well, I don't remember how many I ended with, but my first year traveling, just because I was in Chicago
Yeah,
and my territory was pretty large, because there's a lot of space where there's nothing in my territory.
yeah,
Like Montana isn't populated throughout the entire state, for example. But my first year I had over 100,000 miles.
nice.
Yeah, and actually the first year I was traveling was the first year I was married.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right. Well, we'll get to that in a minute. So, I've learned from travelers, you learn to be very efficient, packing, figuring out. I'm sure you knew I can get to the airport in an hour and 6 minutes, so I'm not going to leave 2.5 hours ahead of time, right?
That's my husband.
Oh, is it?
That's my husband. I like to leave with a little bit of extra time. He's like, why do we want to sit around the airport? So yeah.
Did you get upgraded a lot?
Um, Not as much as I would have liked to have,
Yeah.
but a couple times.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Won free trips anywhere? Did you guys ever have those?
Yeah. Well, we had what we called a distributor council meeting.
Yep.
And so went to Cabo San Lucas.
Ooh.
That was nice. And then I don't remember the name of the town, but somewhere in Florida on the Gulf Coast.
Mhm. So when you're pitching bigger companies on your company's product, right? Is that one of your roles as a sales manager?
So my role when I was a regional sales manager, it was
Mhm.
to go out into the field, travel with our distributor network. I would make presentations to engineering firms to get our pump spec'd on the early end, go to manufacturing facilities of all kinds, and talk to engineers there and maintenance workers. And the craziest thing that happened to me, I was just outside Tacoma, Washington, doing a maintenance presentation at a chemical plant, and all of a sudden the floors just start doing this. And there's like 30 guys, and I'm taking apart this pump and have a presentation showing them, like, if you have low flow, this is where you look, and just going through troubleshooting. And all of a sudden they're all standing up, they're running and getting in the door jams, and they're like, Kara, get over here. I'm like, okay. And like we were having to stack, side by side for us all to fit in the
Mhm.
door jams. I'm like, what is happening? And like, it's an earthquake. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I had never been in one. And
Oh,
it was pretty highly, I don't remember what it was on the Richter scale now, but it was pretty significant because ended up in Seattle later that day, and there's significant damage downtown, even as,
wow.
so, I mean, not buildings falling, but like facades of
Mhm.
buildings and that kind of thing. And it was crazy. Needless to say, we didn't do the second presentation that day because they all needed to make sure
Mhm.
that everything was safe at their facility and their plant. That was crazy.
Dang. Yeah, I've been through that.
It was,
Yeah.
I mean, thankfully everybody was okay.
Yeah.
And everything at the plant was okay, but it was crazy.
You're still talking, right?
I'm
They're
here.
running, you're still
Although
talking.
my mom worked for a company that was headquartered in Tacoma, Washington.
Okay.
And in Charlotte, she heard about what had happened because their
Ah.
headquarters were, greatly affected by it. And because self-service and everything was down and she couldn't get in touch with me, she was
Yeah.
so worried. You're once
Mhm.
a mom, you're always a mom.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how old your kids
Yep.
get, right?
I agree.
And dad.
Oh,
Once
yeah,
a
you always
dad,
are.
you're
I mean, I
always
got
the
2
dad
that
too.
are,
Yeah.
mid-30s plus. I'm
Yeah.
like, we still ask questions. Still ask
Absolutely.
those parent questions,
Yeah.
yeah. I did hear speaking of parent information, I did hear great advice the other day, again, standing in line, waiting to get in the pool. There's, let's just say, there's a teacher there. and she was talking about her students, and one of the parents, one of the swimmers, the master swimmer said, um, asked her, well, how do you communicate with the parents these days? You know, if their kid gets, you know, this, that, and the other. And I couldn't hear her answer. She was standing in front of me. I couldn't hear her answer.
She
But
say, I
then,
try not to.
well, yeah, probably, yeah. But then one of the moms said, well, here's what I do with my son. I think her son's, he's in high school. I don't know what grade he's in. She said, I never communicate with the teacher. I have my son email the teacher and copy me on it. So the teacher knows this is a legitimate email for my son, and also for him to know I'm copied on your email. I thought that was great advice.
100%.
Yeah.
You need to empower your kids
Yeah.
at a young
Yeah.
age to be able to communicate with adults, have some hard conversations at a young age so that they can, it's part of growing up, it's part of life.
Yeah, and it's funny, when I was growing up, and Amnon will probably agree with this because we're a little bit older than you, Kara. I'll just say it that way.
Just a year
Just
or two.
a half hour, 45 minutes tops.
Yeah.
We were always wrong. The teacher was always right.
Yeah.
Our parents would go, well, the teacher said this note home, and we could defend ourselves. Nope. Teacher said that you were talking too much in class. You need to quit talking so much. What? And that was the end of the conversation. There was no communication with the teachers back then. They just said, thanks for watching over him. We know he talks a lot. So, yeah. But that is funny. So.
Yeah. I mean, sadly, that's not so much the case.
No,
anymore.
not at all. But that's a whole nother podcast.
Like I said earlier, that's a whole nother
That's a whole nother
issue, right?
podcast, yeah.
Yes.
All right, so then you decided, so the decision to leave the engineering world to,
So we were living in the Chicago area. Like I said, I grew up in North Carolina. My family was still here. They were in Charlotte. And we actually were going to move back to North Carolina, my husband for the first time. But with my job, instead of being the West Coast regional manager, an opening came up in the Southeast. And so we were getting ready to move with my job, but then 9/11 happened, and our parent company for our business unit was directly tied to the airline industry. And so after 9/11, we were a small business unit, but very profitable. So they moved a lot of things around, and then they ended up giving, where I used to only have the one product, regional sales managers had multiple products. And so at that time, I got moved in as the sales manager for our business unit, and we weren't moving to North Carolina. And so we'd already told my parents that we were, and my husband's family, his dad and mom, they were on the East Coast. His other mom was in Minnesota, so we were at least still close to her. But unfortunately, I didn't move. But then the following year, moved with my husband's job.
okay.
And at that same time, my business unit was moving to Colorado, and I had the opportunity for us to move out there, but we both knew that we wanted to be closer to family, not farther, and that eventually, if we could, when we had kids, that I would stay at home with them if we financially could be able to do that. And so we moved here, and then I was wanting to switch careers. I wanted to stay in sales, but I did not want to sell pumps anymore. I just wanted to do something different. You know, when you told people back then you sold pumps, they were like, what?
Yeah.
They had no idea. So ended up having our first child while I was doing the job search, and so stayed home. And Alexander was born in 2004 and Andrew born in 2007, and I was fortunate enough to be able to stay at home with them.
Good. Soccer runs
Deep
through your family, right?
Yes.
Oldest son, UNCW?
Yes.
Right.
My oldest plays at soccer at UNCW. My dad actually played college soccer, and he is in the Hall of Fame at Towson University. It was called something different, like Peace College. You know, names change, right? And my youngest plays on the U17 NCFC Academy team.
Interesting. So do you watch soccer on TV when you're not at the stadium?
A lot.
All right.
Yeah.
And your team is?
My favorite team is Man City, and my
Jeez.
favorite player is John Stones.
Would you like to say why?
Sure. I like him because, one, he is a good player, but he is a good-looking dude, too.
We all have different reasons for picking our
right?
favorite athletes to watch. Yeah, so I have zero problem with that. So you've been to how many soccer games in person over the years, you think, with your two boys?
Oh, well, their games,
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't
That
know,
many.
because the level they play, they
Mm.
start in August and they
Yeah.
go through, depends on how far they make it in playoffs.
Mm.
They can go through the middle of July. When when they're young and you still have like obvious breaks to take vacations, it became a little harder to find those breaks, but we find the time
Yeah.
to do, little trips, maybe not full week so much anymore with
Mm.
Alexander in college, but we've also um, gone to England as a family specifically to go see
Mm.
soccer for spring break. And I'm glad we did because I don't know where we would fit that in now with
Yeah.
everyone's different
Oh, yeah.
schedules.
I always like to ask parents with kids who play recreational sports, and your oldest son's a little further along than that, but kind of little league mom are you in the stands?
I would love to know what people would say that have been in the stands with me. I will tell you, having two boys, they 100% dictate. I used to cheer a lot louder, say a little bit more, but boys especially, they don't want to hear from their moms
Nope.
after a certain time. Like, what do you know, mom? You
Mm.
never played at this level. I mean, I did play sports growing up,
Mm.
but I just played sports for my high school. I mean, I played a lot of sports,
Mm.
but I never played at the level they're playing. So there's a lot of truth in that. When they were young, I used to play in the yard with them,
Mm.
and I could hold my own. And then at one point, they're like, "Mom, you can't hang with us anymore." I'm like, "Yes, I can. I'm
Yeah.
very competitive." And my husband set up 3 drills just to like prove a point, which I was fine with. I was going to try my hardest and really try and win, but no, they had my number, and at
Mm.
that point, I knew I wasn't going to be making any moves with them on
Mm.
any soccer pitch.
I have learned that boys, especially, but as kids get older, they want to hear less and less from the stands.
Oh, 100%.
Because my niece played pretty high level soccer at Leesville High School. She's a pretty good player. Did not decide to go on to college to play, but my nephew is a pitcher at William Peace right
Hmm.
now. And neither one, and I've had this conversation with him, and we laugh about it. And we're like, yeah, my parents aren't allowed to talk. We don't want to hear from them. We got, trying to focus. And so I always love the, back in Little League, it's always the dad in the stands complaining and critiquing everybody. But strangely, he never has time to volunteer to coach. It's like, dude, shut up then. You know what? And I've had those conversations before. We're tired of hearing about how smart you are. Would you like to volunteer to coach now? Oh, you know what? I'm too busy. And just shut up.
My
Yeah.
husband, he coached them when they were younger, and he is definitely not the quietest and on the sideline for sure. But he coached them for many years when they were younger. Probably my oldest until he
Mm.
was like I think in second grade, and then the youngest just when we were moving to a different club, it made sense to bring him
Mm.
to. He coached him till he was I think in kindergarten.
Right. So I always like to ask folks on the show that are married, how did your husband's name is
Jeff.
Jeff.
Hmm.
How did you and Jeff meet? And you both tell the story the same way.
I think we're pretty spot on in how we tell the story. So when I worked for the distributor in Greensboro, North Carolina, we sold a bunch of different equipment, pumps, tanks, instrumentation. And then Jeff worked for a manufacturer in the Chicago area. And so our company moved to a new building. We invited in all of our top vendors and top customers for a golf event. And his boss, Larry Shanley Jr., came in. And I'm asking him, I'm like, oh, so what does, Lori look like? Or what is Jeff Torres? Or what is Jeff Hornaday? And he goes, you and Jeff Hornaday would be perfect for each other. And I'm like, what? I mean, like had talked to him on the
Not what
phone.
you were asking,
No,
right?
but you talk to these people on the phone for
Yeah.
like a year and a half, and you just
Oh, yeah.
have a vision of what they look like, and so Jeff was actually flying down the following week for work to travel with our outside sales reps, and he's like, Jeff, you need to do whatever you can do to meet Kara. Get to the office, take a bunch of people out to dinner. I don't care. You need to meet her because he told Jeff and I that I reminded him of his wife, and Jeff reminded him of him at that age. And
Okay.
so we started talking more and more and more. and we both had boyfriends and girlfriends, so
Mm.
we were dating other people. But then that ended up, I guess it was maybe November. Flew up there. My sister came with me, spent the weekend, and then after that, we started dating,
Mm.
flying back and forth.
Where was the first official date?
Ooh, it's hard to say because when we were flying back and forth, we spent so much time with his friends or my
Okay.
friends, and um, I really don't
All
know
right.
where it was.
So the you two, all right. So I love to people watch. My
Yes.
two favorite places are Walmart and the airport. And I got a game in the airport. I see a male and a female get off a plane. It's like, what's the story?
Okay.
Are they coworkers? Are they husband and wife? Or are they traveling as, you know?
Something else.
That's my favorite game in the airport. Yep. Yep. Love
So
that.
I have never played that game, but I mean, I think you would be able to tell that we're married when we got off at the
Okay.
airplane. But I will tell you 100% when we're getting off the airplane, I'm like booking it. Like
Yeah.
I just walk so much faster than
Yeah.
anyone in my family. They get so irritated, like, Mom, why are you walking so fast? Well, I'm ready to leave the
Somewhere
airport
to
and get
be,
off
yeah.
the plane
Yeah.
as fast as possible. Yeah.
Now, did he always give you the window or the aisle and he would take the middle seat?
Oh, I don't like to fly. I am like
Yeah, right. But you
this.
don't want to sit in the middle seat,
Oh,
right?
100%. I
Right.
feel safer when I have people around me. Like, what's somebody on my right and somebody on my left going to do if we were to crash? Nothing, right?
Yeah.
But it makes me feel safer. I 100% will take the middle seat.
Really? Huh?
Yes. And if the four of us are traveling, one of the boys will be in the window, I'll be in the middle, the other one will be on the aisle, and then Jeff will be on the aisle
Just
on,
wherever
on
else.
the opposite
Yeah.
or somewhere
Yeah.
else. But it's you. Someone knows they have to sit with me.
Oh,
Or I
okay.
might be grabbing a stranger's hand or arm. I've done that a couple of times when I used to fly so much, just because, man, when you start just going boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom, and turbulence, like I have grabbed a person's arm, a guy beside me, and they look, and I'm like, I'm really sorry. I
Yeah.
don't like to fly.
Mm.
I mean, they're super nice about it. I mean, it was
Yeah.
just their arm.
When I was working at Turner Sports in Atlanta, TBS was airing the Senior Bowl game, football game in Mobile. And so John Vandegrift, the program director, and I were flying from Atlanta to Mobile in just
Ooh.
the toughest storm I've ever flown through. And I'm with you, I'm a better flyer today than I used to be. And I got my hands there. Nothing's going on except I'm looking because, mentally I'm helping the pilot, right? That's what we think we're doing, right? So I'm holding on there.
Yes.
And John's just sitting there reading his book, just nodding. And I'm like, what are you doing? He goes, what do you mean? I'm reading. Just doesn't bother you? He goes, no. So,
Oh my gosh.
figured I might want to try to work on being a better traveler. But yeah.
At one time when I was working for the pump manufacturer, literally we're going down the distributor council meeting in Florida, and we have the general manager of the plant, we have the head of engineering, we have I don't know what his title was, but basically the CFO of our business unit, and then I was head of sales. And one of the guys, they're like, and on that flight, no lie, I'm in the middle in between two of the other, like the general manager and the head of engineering. And because that's what I would prefer. That's how much I like to be in a middle seat. And so one of them said to the other, like, we all should never have flown on the same flight.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I looked
Yeah.
at them and I said, be quiet. I
Yeah.
do not need to hear that right now. I'm like, don't jinx us.
But they probably
But
didn't
it's
do that
100
much after that.
No,
And they'd say,
100%. It was
Yeah.
not something anybody, your whole
Oh, yeah.
senior team should never fly together.
Yeah. So the flight to England was a lot of fun for you then?
You know, I've been fortunate enough. I've gone with my younger son. He played in England for a week a couple summers ago. And honestly, once I get up,
Mhm.
once you're like at cruising altitude, I'm so much better.
Okay.
It's really takeoff and landing. But I was worried our
Mhm.
first trip. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to need something. But no, I didn't, I didn't have to take anything. I just was, I have to hold my husband's hand. And if it's
Oh.
what's super sweet is my boys know how much I don't like
Yeah.
to fly. And even at 17 and 19, and if Jeff's sitting somewhere else or he's not on the flight with us, they'll hold out their hand for
Oh,
me.
very
So,
nice. My mom would try when she retired. She started traveling, and she would just once they got to cruising altitude, everything's good. She just pace the
uh,
walk, just get up and walk around, and yeah, she was an okay flyer, but that was one of her ways when it was smooth and everything. She would just get up,
yeah,
just walk around.
I just say my prayers.
Yeah,
That's what I do.
yeah. What was the line? I don't know if it's my day, but what if it's his day, right? Or
Ooh,
his time. So,
now, Mike, you're giving me something else to
yeah,
think
there
about.
you
I
go.
never thought of that
There you
one.
go. So,
Yeah.
yeah, a friend of mine was in an aborted takeoff once. I mean, the pilot
Mm,
just slammed on the brakes, right? Yeah, and I want that's one of those things
yeah.
I want no part of.
No.
No part of. So, how's spring tennis going?
Oh, yesterday's match was tough. We lost
Yeah.
in a third set tiebreak,
Mm-hmm.
11-9. But overall, pretty good.
Huh?
Yeah.
You know, a lot of your scores are on the internet.
Oh gosh,
Yeah.
you didn't look them up, did you?
Oh, I did.
Oh crap!
I go to page three. Page three
I
of
don't
Google
even
is the best place to find good
page
stuff.
three Google. I don't even know about that.
I just type in your name and just
Oh, you go
just keep going.
scroll to
Yeah.
page
Oh
3.
yeah.
Oh
Because page one's
gosh.
like LinkedIn and all this. I don't care about that stuff, right? I'm gonna
Okay.
give me something. I did this with Chad Kufa, and I found out he played in a this was I think he was probably on a couple years ago. And he had played in a golf tournament with a
Did he
buddy of
win?
his. They did not. And I actually found they had the stats, the standings for the golf tournament. And I actually found one round where they played horribly, and I kept clicking, and it showed hole by hole, and they're doing good, they're doing good. All of a sudden, they posted, I think it was a 7 on a par 4,
Oops.
and I said, his name, Jimmy Smith or whatever. Ring a bell. Looked at me, goes, yeah. How'd you find that out? I was like, yeah, that's what I do.
Because
So he
I'm
went
a
on and told me,
snooper.
yeah. I said, you guys played in the tournament? He goes, oh yeah, we played tournaments. I said, tell me about the 16th hole in the second round. And as golfers know, they know that stuff. He
Yeah.
looked at me, he goes, where'd you find that? I was like, you know. So he told me,
Google.
said his partner wasn't having a really good day. It was alternate shots.
Oh, that's too funny. Yeah, I will tell you this spring, I play in a Saturday morning league, and all 3 of our first 3 matches have been rained out.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
it's a pain to figure
Yes.
out how to reschedule matches when you work and people
Wednesdays, rescheduling. You're like, no, that's why I don't play on Wednesdays. So,
yeah, it's tough. But so since you probably already have all the information, I've played 1 match and won it in the third set tiebreak, and then I played mixed doubles for the very first time on Tuesday night, and played with a friend of mine with her husband. She was traveling, and I was like, "Oh, I'm really honored you put me with your husband because I've never played mixed doubles before ever." And she's like, "I'm traveling this week."
yeah.
I
Yeah.
said, I figured, but we lost to a really good team. They're a husband
Okay.
and wife.
Yeah.
Obviously, they've met
They
before.
practice. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like Ken and I just met that night. I
Yeah.
mean, I'd seen him from
Probably
a
have
distance.
hand signals and code words for,
I mean,
stuff
they
like
definitely
that.
had
Yeah.
set plays. They
Yeah.
were a good team.
Yeah.
And then we lost yesterday in the windstorm.
That's no fun. Yeah.
It's just crazy.
You hit a
Balls,
shot. It's like, wait, how's that end up out? I hit it. Yeah.
and you're going to hit a shot, and then all of a sudden it goes whoop.
Yeah.
But then sometimes it benefits you.
Oh, yeah.
You just don't
Yeah.
never know which way is it
Yeah.
going. Is the ball going to help you or hurt you? With
You
the
just
wind?
claim that that's the way I hit it. Yeah, I meant to hit it that way. So, yeah.
Exactly.
Can you beat your sons in tennis?
Yes.
Okay.
But
So they make.
they can't. They could. Well, my youngest has beat me in singles, but I've also beaten him.
Yeah.
It just depends. They love my husband and both my boys to hit these crazy drop shots.
Mhm.
And I just have to be in a good mental state to play them and be like, okay, I have to play my game and they're going to drop shot and I have to be ready to run.
Yep.
Because they're definitely way more athletic than I am.
Yeah, but you've got the experience, and they may say, "Yeah, we're a better soccer player than you, Mom." But it's like you just go, "Yeah, but I can kind of wipe the court with
Well,
you."
it
So,
used to
yeah.
be, my husband would play with one and I would play with the other, whether it's tennis or pickleball, and now they don't want to be partners with my husband
No.
or I. And
No.
so last time the 4 of us played together, we killed them. and they were so upset because we've never beaten them that
Yeah,
badly before,
good,
but it
good.
was awesome.
I've been on both ends of that, yes, and it's healthy, yes, yeah, and a little dose of humility, but yeah.
Absolutely,
So,
absolutely.
pickleball, do you like that?
I don't really understand all the rules.
I
I
never
think
played it, but it's like, why
I have
play?
so many friends who love it and are
Yeah,
really good at it, but I don't understand the rules yet. And what I figure is this: there'll be a time where I won't be able to chase those balls on a larger court. I might not be quick enough to.
well, just don't play the 30-year-olds. Play the other 60-year-olds. Come on,
I'm telling you what,
play in your age
there's
group.
some
Yeah,
good people who are older than
don't
me.
play them.
Only I got to choose the people I played, right?
Well, get on the ladder for the people that get on the B ladder instead of the A ladder, and
Oh,
you
I'm
know,
definitely not on the A
yeah. All
ladder.
right, well, get on
I'm
the C ladder then.
I'm a
Okay.
good average player.
All right, there you go. Find the other good average players who want to keep playing. It's like, look, don't hit it too hard, and we'll, yeah. So, but I'm glad you were able to do that because that was part of the deal when you went to work for
Yes,
Ethan was
yes,
soccer
eh,
and tennis.
yes. The deal was not missing a soccer game because I've
Mm-hmm.
been able to. I've missed some because my husband's traveled with one and I've traveled with the other. But the deal was I wouldn't miss a soccer game, and I'd be able to still play some tennis.
Mm-hmm.
And so he actually got kind of upset with me when he found out that I stayed at home and didn't go with my youngest to his first official college visit for soccer. And I'm not kidding. Ethan is such a good guy. I thought he was going to cry. He goes, Kara, that's our deal. And I was like, yeah, but I already had meetings planned. He goes, but that was our deal when you took this job.
Nice.
And I just felt so bad. I was like, well, I was trying to be an adult for once in my
Yeah.
life, but Jeff went with them and everything was fine. But you know, I did pout a little bit at having to miss it, but then I realized, I'm working now
Yeah.
and I've got to make the tough decisions.
You'll get the
So,
next one.
yeah,
Yeah. He'll
hopefully.
go in a bunch, right?
I hope so.
I mean,
He's
there'll be
hurt.
some schools that want him,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. I hope so. He got injured at a
Mm-hmm.
very inopportune time,
Yep.
but
All
we'll
right.
see. Still plenty of time.
Hopefully he'll get better. We've been putting Kara's phone number on the screen here. What is the website? They can go learn more about Rainbow Restoration.
RainbowRestores.com.
Right. And you are Apex.
Yes, Ethan Talman, the owner, he
Mhm.
grew up in Apex, and that is where our facility is. But we cover the entire
Mhm.
triangle, and even just outside the triangle too.
Yeah. Good. All right. So give us a tip. All the people have learned a bunch. They've been entertained for the last 45 minutes. So they
It's
need
been
to, I
45.
know. See, it's a good show when
Huh.
time flies by. Yeah.
Wow.
They need to walk around their house today and they need to look for what two things to make sure everything's still good.
Two things. Well, I mentioned at the very beginning. I would definitely say check all of your ceilings,
Mhm.
especially anything that's below an obvious water source, although pipes go all along the
Mhm.
ceilings. But the second thing I would say, um, hmm, that one, I narrow it down.
Mhm. Do they need to look at their insurance policy for any reason for you guys or
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, gosh.
crawl space?
I
Yeah.
will say
Mm.
Ethan spent a whole day digging some stuff out of a crawl space. He was there as the owner the entire day, and two of the service techs split the day. And unfortunately, a cap on a pipe,
Mhm.
uh, on the sewage pipe, came loose, and
Stuff.
stuff
Stuff. Yeah.
was knee deep.
Yeah.
And so a crawl space, sure, absolutely check. Just because I can guarantee you, if someone had gone in that crawl space, even they said it had been a month that they thought something smelled off, but
Mm.
Ethan was certain it was longer.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to give the folks listening who don't know where their crawl space is or don't want to crawl into their crawl space. Call Kara and Ethan and the team, or get a family member. Send one of your 15-year-old sons underneath in the crawl
There you
space.
go.
There you go,
There you go.
with a GoPro and a flashlight, so you can see what he or she sees. Your
Yeah.
daughter as well. But just take a peek underneath, just to make sure that or just open the door and shine a flashlight in there for starters. But because
Absolutely.
most of us, again, we don't. Crawl spaces and attics. The attic is storage only. We don't look to see what else is up there. And crawl space, we don't even go in there.
I don't.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like, I mean, I met Ethan doing a service week at church. And honestly, when I do the service weeks on my teams, there's two things I don't do. One is crawl under the house. That I'm just petrified of snakes and spiders, or install toilets.
What's wrong with that?
There's something about it. But I've been fortunate enough to have team members where, like, high school kids are more than willing to take out a toilet and put in a new one. It's awesome. I'm so proud of them. But me at my age, I'm like, no. I mean, I'll work hard the whole week.
Yeah, don't play the age card yet to get out of that. So save it for better stuff.
I'm kooky. How about that?
Save it for other stuff.
I'm kooky.
So. All right, so we've been putting Kara's number up there, Rainbow Restoration. Please give her a call if anything happens or you think something is not as it should be. They'll come out, take a look at it for you. Thank you for being a guest on the show today.
Absolutely, Mike. Thanks for having me.
Yep, a lot of fun.
Thank you, Amnon.
Love the stories. Glad tennis is going good. So
could be going better, but I'm having fun.
Okay. And check with Jeff and ask him where the first official date was. See if he knows.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
We'll have to ask him. We did meet at the copy machine. I do know that. Like for the first time face to face.
And how'd that go? So when you saw him at the copy machine, did you like, not bad?
I said, oh, he's cute, but my boyfriend's cuter.
Outstanding. And without mentioning names, where is he today?
He's in North Carolina, I think. Yeah.
Not as happily married as Jeff, right?
No, gosh, he actually, like, his wife is beautiful. I've met her. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So, and she seemed nice.
People would say that about Jeff's wife, wouldn't they?
Oh, well, some may, some might not. I don't know.
You just get to the point where you don't care. I don't care what other people think.
Well, that is true.
More people spend way too much time thinking about, well, no, don't care. It doesn't matter. They're not a factor in your life. So anyway, thanks for being on the show today. Good luck with everything. And we'll see everybody next week on Triangle BNI.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com and DeltaForce.net.